Your Excellency, today morning I have the instructions of the Speaker of the National Assembly to present to you 7 sets of bills which were passed by the National Assembly on the last week before it went on recess, being the recess starting on 9th of December, on the 6th of December this year. Your Excellency, the first bill is a Business Laws Amendment Bill, which is a bill that was introduced from the Executive by the leader of the majority party, proposing to amend 8 pieces of statutes, including the Banking Act, the Microfinance Act, and the CBK Act, the Standards Act, the National Electronic Single Window Bill, amongst others. With respect to the Banking Act, Your Excellency, this bill is proposing to increase core capital for our banks up to 10 billion within a time frame of 6 years. The banks will be required to do so in a graduated manner so that our depositors are protected from any risks of collapse of banks. Your Excellency, this bill also brings into the ambit of the regulatory framework of Central Bank the digital lenders, so that digital lenders will now operate under the instructions and legal framework of the and supervisory framework of the Central Bank. Your Excellency, this bill also instructs the registrar of companies and the business registration entity to share information with the Kenya Bureau of Standards when it comes to any persons who register businesses for purposes of manufacturing. This will ensure that Kenya Bureau of Standards also has its own book relating to persons who want to do manufacturing for purposes of maintenance of standards. This bill, Your Excellency, also amends the Kenya Industrial Research and Development Institute Act and the SEZ Act. With respect to the SEZ Act, Your Excellency, this bill provides that those persons who are given license to operate within our SEZs are assured of a tax incentives holiday for a period of 10 years so that there is certainty as they operate. The next bill, Your Excellency, is Kenya Roads Board Amendment Bill, which is a small bill, Your Excellency, which was initially contained in the Finance Act of 2023, but was nullified by court because the court found that an amendment to Kenya Roads Board Act did not have any nexus with a Finance Act, and it was not a money bill. It was therefore reintroduced again by the member for Kikuyu in the leader majority party and went through all the motions and stages in the House. It's a small bill. It is proposing to reduce the membership of Kenya Roads Board from the current 13 to reducing the membership by 3 persons, Your Excellency. And that is in keeping with the requirements of the Mwongozo policy, which speaks to how laws relating to state corporations should be made with respect to corporate governance and composition of our state corporations. However, the bill also ensures that the requisite qualifications and competencies required in the board have still been maintained. Your Excellency, the next bill is the Tax Procedures Amendment Bill, which is a small bill, part of which was picked from the Lost Finance Act to make it easy for Kenyans to file tax. It speaks to the question of ETIMs and is going to save our small-scale traders and farmers from the concerns that they were raising relating to ETIMs, Your Excellency. The bill also extends the tax amnesty that was lost when we lost the Finance Act 2024, so that Kenya Revenue Authority, the Commissioner General and the Kenya Revenue Authority can be able to assess tax performance of companies, and those that have been ailing for a long time, they can be able to forgive them, Your Excellency. This is one of the things that were lost when we lost the Finance Bill of 2024. Your Excellency, the next bill is the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission Amendment Act, which is one of the products of the NADCO process. The bill provides that the chairperson of the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission must be a person who can hold the office of a judge of a high court in Kenya. That is in keeping with the functions of the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, which requires a person of such standing. However, Your Excellency, conscious of the current composition of the EACC, the bill provides for a transition mechanism to allow the current office holder to stay there until the end of their term, Your Excellency, so as not to bring in unnecessary disruption in the fight against corruption. There is still the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission Amendment Bill, which is a small bill. Excellency, these are the other copies of the Tax Procedures Amendment Bill, which is also a small bill, Your Excellency, which is incorporating part of what was lost in the Finance Bill of 2024. Excellency, to be able to conclude with all these bills, both houses of Parliament sat for long. The National Assembly ordinarily holds 4 sittings in a week, but in the last 2 weeks before the recess, the National Assembly sat for 9 sittings each week, some going up to midnight, Your Excellency, so that members can conclude with this business and be able to attend the East Africa Community Games in Mombasa that are still ongoing in Mombasa. It is hoped that this Tax Procedures Amendment Bill, Your Excellency, is going to incentivize growth of the local steel and construction industry, because it exempts certain provisions of the Africa Continental Trade Agreement from operating for 2 years with respect to our steel industry for items that have been specified, so that businesses and local steel manufacturers do not get an competition which is not healthy from products that come from outside the East Africa community. Your Excellency, these are the other copies of the Tax Laws Amendment Bill. The Tax Laws Amendment Bill, Your Excellency, amends 4 pieces of statutes. That is the VAT Act, the Income Tax Act, the Excise Duty Act, and the Miscellaneous Fees and Levies Act. With respect to the Income Tax Act, Your Excellency, the bill will ensure that Kenyans will now enjoy the full benefits of the affordable housing levy, since they'll be given a tax holiday for those who are paying that levy, Your Excellency, so that it is not part of the gross of the tax.
Okay.
The request, Your Excellency.
Is it a tax holiday or tax deductible? Making it tax deductible. Yeah.
Tax deductible, Your Excellency, that's the right word.
Does it qualify for relief? Is it a relief?
You are not taxed on it. No, before you pay AR1 and your gross.
Yes, yes.
Including your contribution for it.
Your Excellency, this one also ensures that Kenyans also gain from some of the items that were lost in the Finance Bill of 2024, including our tea farmers, because it will be recalled that part of the concern has been that the sacks and the cartons that are used to pack our tea still attract heavy duty, and now that has been removed, Your Excellency. The next bill, Your Excellency, is the Kenya Revenue Act Amendment Bill 2024, a bill which was introduced by the leader of majority party, largely to do two things. It is to empower the Commissioner General of KRA to appoint Deputy Commissioners with the approval of the board, so as to bring in better corporate governance. This bill, with respect to taxation, also allows the Commissioner General to assess applications made by tax agents who are unable to remit tax to KRA that they are withholding within the prescribed period. And if the Commissioner General finds that they did not fail because of offense on their part, the Commissioner General is now empowered to forgive them. And the bill specifies the instances. The bill finds that it is possible that an agent will not be able to remit tax because of force majeure. They may not be able to remit tax because of failure on the part of the KRA e-system, or they are not able to remit tax because of other reasons that the Commissioner General may find fit. What will be waived, Your Excellency, is a penalty associated with that late submission of tax. The last bill for the day, Your Excellency, is the Statutory Instruments Amendment Bill 2024. It was introduced in the National Assembly by the member for ADVERTISE, who is also the chairman of the Committee on Delegated Legislation. This bill, Your Excellency, is informed by Article 96(4) of the Constitution, which provides that Parliament may delegate any of its legislative powers to any state officer, public officer, or any other person. But the Constitution also requires that when Parliament does that, it ought to prescribe the limit, the scope, the purpose, and the standard, so that the delegatee does not go beyond the limit given by Parliament. It's a small bill, Your Excellency, and it provides that whenever Parliament nullifies in total a regulation or part of a regulation, the entity that made that regulation is now required to publish in the Gazette a notification to the public that that nullification has happened. The Act also requires the clerks of both houses to publish that notification in the website. This, Your Excellency, is meant to cushion the possibility of the citizenry being asked to comply with regulations that have been nullified, or our courts making decisions based on the regulations that no longer exist in part or in full. The second and final part of that bill, Your Excellency, speaks to the limit of the penalty that may be given to a person who contravenes regulations. Currently, Your Excellency, the Statutory Instruments Act limits that to not more than 20,000 shillings, and both houses of Parliament thought that was too low and may lead to non-compliance. Therefore, this bill, Your Excellency, increases that limit to a maximum of 1 million, so that persons who have power to make regulations may now increase penalties for any offenses.
Could it have been better, to say a percentage instead of a figure? Because that figure of 1 million in another 10 years may again have a problem.
Excellency, I seek your leave to join the rest. Thank you, sir.
So, done.
Thank you, Excellency. We now request you to give a copy of the 7 Acts of Parliament to the team led by Prime Cabinet Secretary on the executive side, and then to National Assembly led by the Speaker.